Mabuhay!
Hi! Welcome to
The Babaylan Bruha Book Club podcast.
It's Your Village Kapwatids, Steph.
And Imee, and here we are together again. And as always, in efforts to decolonize our minds, bodies, and reconnect with spirit by ways of relation via conversation, of education, interpretation, and integration.
So, this is our invitation for you to join us on our journeys as we discuss the works of honored artists, authors, and thought leaders in the Filipinx diaspora.
Quick disclaimer, we want to acknowledge that in this moment, everyone is exactly where they need to be.
And since we are not experts, yet we share our own unique lived experiences, we invite you to take or toss any statements, opinions, words that we may use as you choose.
We are so glad you found your way here. As always, before we begin, we want to take a moment to ground, taking a pause to drop into our bodies and become fully present to the space. If it is safe for you, we invite you to close your eyes. Maybe place a hand on your chest, on your heart space, one on your tummy, on your solar plex. And take some deep breaths, inhaling in. Hold at the top and exhale out slowly. One more time. Exhale out. Inhale in. And exhale out. Take one last deep breath before returning to your regular breathing pattern. And as you do, I just invite you to extend gratitude to your body, extend gratitude to your breath. And as we begin our conversation, we'd like to thank God, Bathala, Creator, for another gathering. In gratitude, we also acknowledge our benevolent ancestors and invite all these forces to support and guide this conversation today. I thank the ancestors of the lands that we all occupy, knowing that we cannot do our own remembrance work without remembering them. For me, that is the mound builders that are the Hopewell and Adena people in Ohio. For Stephanie, that is the Bay, Miwok, Yokut people in the Inland Bay Area of California. With gratitude, we also acknowledge your presence, Kapwatid, your energy and your light, no matter wherever and whenever you're tuning in.
All right. Thank you, sis.
Thank you. Hi, Sissy.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Oh, I am well as well, navigating Mercury retrograde, dodging stuff like,
We got 9 planets rotating backwards.
All of them.
Why people are going
a little crazy.
Yeah.
I'm like, am I rotating backwards? What's happening?
I feel like it because my moon's coming. So,
I mean, my moon is here. Welcome to me. Welcome to my moon.
Moon episodes.
Yes.
So, as we start off this season 3, we're doing Bruha check.
Bruha check.
We already started talking about Bruha stuff, but yeah, sis. We rock, paper, scissoring. Are you gonna go first? I
can go first.
Okay.
First.
I'll get my timer for you.
Time, because time is a structure. Timer's boundaries, and boundaries are not bad.
They're not.
They're not.
Tell that to the people who don't. I'm included. There's some things. Okay. 90 seconds.
Okay.
Ready,
yes.
Set, go.
Okay, so like we said, it is Mercury retrograde. So I am doing a lot of Bruha stuff which includes, I think we talked about this last week, like just getting back to regular practices, like pulling a card every morning, journaling, lots of journaling, and then meditation. I'm upping my meditation game only because, with retrograde, things, old thought patterns come up, right? Old insecurities come up. And so there's just, I get to alchemize all that stuff, right? And so I've also been moving my body more. That's been helping me alchemize anxiety and things. Sis, we talked about this over Marco Polo. So, but that's what, maybe that doesn't sound like Bruja stuff, but technically everything is Bruja stuff if you do it with intention and magic, right? Because I am the magic. I am the Bruja.
Yes,
so whatever I do is Bruja stuff. Do you know?
Yes, you are.
So that's what's the deal.
That's what's the deal. 10 seconds.
Oh, wow. Look at that. So yeah, drink your water, y'all. Take your vitamins, journal, meditate.
Boom. Right on Bruja timing.
Okay. Bruha Tings, 90 seconds for Ati Steph. And 3, 2, 1.
All right. Well, I'm gonna just say it. I've been working with sex magic.
Whoop.
Working with that Kundalini energy.
Mm-hmm.
My Yoniverse has called me home and has asked me to come home. So I'm giving a lot of TLC this month in particular. My awareness has raised exponentially with my little lady, my reproductives. So a Bruja thing is just really, I've been connecting more to womb healers and herbs and just learning a lot of rich history about the yoni and our cervix, aka. And for women out there, it's such a sacred thing. And decolonizing the programmings that have come with realizing our health has been basically told to us by white men. So that being said, coming back to my Yoniverse has been a way to like come back to taking my power and connecting to, did you know, I don't know if I'm approaching time, but did you know that the witching, the Renaissance, when they were killing witches, they were actually killing womb healers because they were the women who helped the women birth. And of course,
the men were scared
and they were trying to kill those women. So
yeah, that was time. But oh my gosh, yeah, we should do a whole study break about that, or a whole episode, side episode about what the Yoniverse.
Yeah,
come on, I've never heard that before. Yoniverse. All right. Yeah, that's good. That's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Like the cosmos inside of you, the Yoniverse.
Really? Because if you think about it, the cervix is like a donut, right? And a child comes out that the sperm goes up it to birth to the heavens, and then a baby comes back out of it. Like, come on.
If you're not on the YouTube, you should see my face. I mean, my mind is blown. I mean, but yeah, it makes so much sense. And you pushed 2
children out of that, sis. Oh, a donut hole. Like
I did. That is.
They don't think we're magical. What the fuck?
What the fuck? Oh man. So I saw this. This is such a millennial. This is such an ate thing to say, I think. I saw this TikTok. So I saw this TikTok. This lady was studying to be a gynecologist. And she said, why did I just learn this now? Apologies because I can't cite anything, but she was looking at some studies. So they've been studying like the sperm and the egg, right? And so what have we been taught? We've been taught that like it's the strongest fucking sperm that gets into the egg. There are more studies that say the egg has a lot more say in it than we were taught.
Yep.
But just even that teaching of the how it's the man who is the sperm, which is usually a man, like
Thank you for being non-binary inclusive. Thank you.
Yes. So is the one that has the sperm and the sperm is strong and chooses. So it makes us seem passive, women.
No.
Those who identify as women, it makes us seem like we're just passive, but no, the fuck we aren't. But she was like, why am I just learning about this now? Why was I taught differently in sex ed?
Come on. This is cutting edge shit. So if y'all's tuning in, you a whole ass bruja. The woman is calling you back too, because listen, this is how women gonna take their power back. I'm telling you. Yes.
The yoni-verse.
Your egg chooses. And that's how it was. Women chose the man to procreate with.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Right now, it's the other way around. Why?
Because we've been taught that. We've been taught that we are passive, that women are passive.
And that's the thing. Like one of my womb teachers, I'm going to call her womb teacher now. She was saying that, damn, I lost it.
Damn it, Mercury retrograde.
Yeah, I know. She was saying, they're like, it's not yet. Hang it.
No, we were talking about how the egg chooses the sperm and it's not like a race.
It isn't, but it's just, I guess it's like, you can't fight biology. Like biology is literally telling us that women have the power. We make the babies. We decide on the sperm. Like you may not, but your egg, the ovulation thing, that's like this sperm. I feel like that's why my eggs never with my ex never like.
Oh my god, your eggs were in there like.
Nope.
Like dodging.
They're like, nope, we gonna save you. It looked
like nope.
And it speaks to like just human nature. Like men do have to, like women and men, and non-binaries, let's be, inclusive, but that's natural selection. Like you choose a partner that you really want to procreate with or like spend your life with. Wouldn't it make sense that your body has that intelligence too? Like,
whoa, yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say this. Western medicine doctors have their best interest, right? But they just were not taught the indigenous ways. Like, that's the limitation of women's health. Women's health was actually curated by white men. So, that being said, the TikTok doctor, it makes sense that she'd be like, why? I love my OB. I even like her and I would talk about feng shui and energy, but when I asked her certain questions, she just is very Western medicine answer. I'm not trying to diss that education, but it's not the only scope, y'all.
Yeah, it needs to be a both and like an integration. Yeah. An integration of indigenous and modern medicine of anything. Like, I feel like that's the future. It needs to be what we say in last episode, what do we call it? The indigenous innovation.
Oh, yes.
Indigenous innovation is because the future.
We have technology, but you got to bring back the old practices. Like you can't deny there's rituals that associate with the elements and the seasons.
Yeah.
And our freaking cycle is a season. Like, I mean, I talk about like, what season are you in? Oh, I'm in winter. Like, oh, it's summer.
Yeah.
Megan Thee Stallion was a line when she said hot girl summer. Okay, by the way.
Exactly.
So
okay. Anyway, that was a tangent. That was more than that. Bruha Tings was more than 90 seconds, but that's okay. Those were the words that needed to come out. So kaputid, check in with yourself. What are you doing this Mercury retrograde to support yourself? If you are a person who has a womb, connect to your yoni verse. And that is that.
Yeah, share with us how
Yes.
what Bruha Tings you're up to.
Yes, yes.
Okay, it's time for Brown Girl Cliff Notes. Ba-dum-bum. So chapter 2 is called Writers of History, and coincidentally or not, it's about writings and documentations. So we're citing Philippine historian Ambeth Ocampo, Dutch anthropologist Antun Postma, Antonio de Morgas, Sucesos de las Islas Filipinas from 1609, and the infamous or famous, we talked about him a lot in the past few seasons, Jose Rizal. We learned of pragmatic copper plates as official certificates for such statements as acquittal of debt, kind of like how our ancestors recorded things or didn't record things. We found out that natives who are fluent in natives were actually really fluent in reading and writing, as well as Rizal's struggle to work with an Austrian ethnographer to record history in the Philippines.
That was interesting.
We'll talk more about it. And to be followed up, of course, with American scholars, Emma Helen Blair and James Alexander Robertson in the 1900s, with all this culminating per Ate Judy, right? We have a 55 volume series of Philippine documents now. The Philippine Islands, 1493 to 1898. So,
yes.
As someone who was wondering where our documents went, now we have documents.
Yes, that's the receipts. We're going to talk about receipts today.
There you go. I like that.
And maybe don't check out if that sounds real boring, because it is. We're going to have some discussions.
Yes.
So thanks for that intro and that summary, Sissy. I don't have anything to add. We can just hop into
let's get into
conversation. Okay. Okay, so we'll just hop into conversation. So we'll have 2 vocabulary words each, and then we'll do 2 quotes each. So my vocabulary word was from page 38 in chapter 2. And the vocab is parchment curtain. Parchment curtain. So the paragraph says the official documents of the Spanish colonial period in the Philippines were described by Philippine historian William Henry Scott as the quote unquote parchment curtain that prevented Filipinos from having a clear picture of the conditions of the islands and people during the colonial era. This prompted another historian, Teodoro Agoncillo, to lament that it would never be possible to write a real history of the Filipino people under Spain because the colonial government had a monopoly on the production of source materials. So the colonial government had a monopoly on the production of source materials. Like, so that whole time that we were in under Spanish rule, our history was being written down by the Spanish. So that's a layer.
It's
and
censorship as well.
Yeah, exactly. And then, you know, it takes us back to what I was talking about last episode about how history is written by those in control, right? So, and then the whole thing about they had a monopoly on the production of source materials. It's like, so where, it has me questioning, like, where do our parchment curtains hang like today? And do we have any? Or has the internet kind of leveled the playing field a bit? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because before you were only given, like, say we were living in, I'm sure oh my gosh, maybe we were living together in this under
Sure.
Spanish rule in the villages. Do you know what I'm saying? Me and you, sis, back in the
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
Right. And so we only knew what we know. But the internet has, I feel, has changed the game. And you can kind of see behind those parchment curtains. I mean, that's exactly what we're doing right now. That's exactly what we're doing right now, is like looking behind the parchment curtains a little bit, trying to find stuff, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Sorry.
No, I'm that. Oh, that's all. So yeah.
Something in my spirit last night. You know, I lit my nighttime joint, and I was like, I want to listen to a Bob Marley interview. So I listened to a Bob Marley interview, and there was a writer, synchronistic, who says Bob Marley was dangerous. And the interview, he's from Jamaica, and he was like, Bob Marley was dangerous because he empowered the peoples to think for themselves. And so there's obviously the conspiracy, whatever you say conspiracy, but that's why they killed him, whatever, right?
Yeah.
He got shot at. But I bring this up because the writer, I forgot his name, so thank you to him. But he was like, Jamaicans don't listen to facts. They listen to rumors, because facts are controlled. Rumors are more like, Jamaicans don't have time to be, you know what I'm saying? So that was a perspective. I was like, oh shit. And you just said the government controls history writing. So that's why it was like, you know, it's one of those oxymoronic kind of statements, like, no, don't believe facts, believe rumors, because facts are controlled and rumors are not. But debatable, right?
Debatable. But the fact is, people have more access to both facts and rumors.
Yes.
Because of the internet.
Yes.
So then there's also the conversation about having discernment, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but anyway, I thought that was the parchment curtain, I thought was poetic in itself. And it got me thinking about those particular things. So
yeah, it makes me think of, you know, when they thought that they could burn us, witches, truth tellers, we reincarnate, we just come back, and look what is happening. You know what I'm saying?
Look at what is happening. We all said, let's come back and wake up at the same time.
For real. So
yeah, you know that there's that saying, like, we are the granddaughters of the witches you couldn't burn.
Yes.
I saw a meme. It was like, the granddaughters, that was me you tried to burn. Like, I came back as my own granddaughter because you tried to burn me. You know what I mean?
It's very possible. I mean,
yeah, I feel like I'm
impossible and possible. Like,
do you feel like you might have been your own ancestor, sissy?
I think that I came back to talk shit. And that's the story that my mother tells me every single birthday, because the nurse just had to tell my mother, like, oh, your baby's crying. You know, I don't know what was her deal, but she was like, oh, your baby's letting people know she's here. And I was just like, maybe I just didn't want to be here. Or maybe I came back and I was like, oh, I'm here to talk shit.
Well,
and then past life regressions by elders, they've told me, like, I have been like, I've had enemies because
you talk shit. Because you've been talking shit.
At least I'm being real, y'all. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
The truth is the truth. So
the truth is the truth.
Discern accordingly. Rumors, facts, fact check.
Yes. All right.
God is my fact checker. Okay, listen. Atala God is my fact checker.
There you go.
Good word.
Okay, I'm complete. What is your vocab word, sissy?
It kind of piggybacks off parchment curtains. Counter propaganda. That's on page 42. It goes back to our unsung hero, Jose Rizal. Through his annotations, Rizal's work could be called counter propaganda. Chronicles about the Philippines during the time that were written by Spaniards and reflected their biases. Ocampo said, another historian. I just want to do a quick little annotation. There was obviously way more historians in this book, but we cited who we can. So shout out to all the historians, okay? But Ocampo said, another historian, further complicating the matter was the fact that Rizal attempted to write on the pre-Hispanic Philippines before the arrival of archaeology. Can't say that word. Archaeology.
Archaeology.
Okay.
Archaeology.
It sounds like my last name. And was thus left with no choice but to use Spanish written sources. In the course of his research, he constantly had to decide which sources were to use for his history of the Philippines, but his patriotism largely determined his choice. So anyways, the point of this word is that Rizal, as a writer, was trying to write pre-colonial information, and it was information written. The research he was using was written by Spaniards. So it was a struggle. Like, you don't have resource. Imagine writing a research paper back then. Like,
yeah.
not having reputable sources.
Because the government had a monopoly on the production of source materials.
Yeah. So Jose had to like go through hella curtains and be like,
hella curtains.
What is this? Yeah, he tried to talk about, which we'll talk about in just a bit, but he tried to get other people to like help him, but they didn't want to help him.
Yeah. The parchment, he had to go through a lot of parchment curtains, a lot of tapestries.
Hella tapestries.
Maybe some blinds too.
Oh yeah. Some bamboo blinds.
Yeah. So can we just talk about Jose Rizal right quick?
Yeah. I kind of have a writing crush on him. Is that weird?
No, it's not weird.
I had a crush on the guy who played Jose Rizal. Bless your heart. You know who you are if you ever listen to this. He played Jose Rizal in the in college. My Filipino club put our very first PCN night, Filipino cultural night, and he played Jose Rizal.
Aww.
I had a crush on him, and he was a writer.
I thought you were gonna say an actor in a movie. I was about to look it up. That's why you saw my phone.
No,
let me see.
No, he's somewhere in, I don't know where he is now, but that was like 10 plus years ago.
Wow. So yeah, I did not. This shows my ignorance. Excuse me. It shows where I need to learn, where I got to learn that Jose Rizal was in the diaspora in London. Did you know this before reading this? I didn't know.
No, I didn't know he was in Europe.
He moved back eventually because he wanted to be among the people he was helping. But I did not know, sis, that he was us. He's diaspora, right?
Oh, like he's like international?
Yeah, like
international Filipino.
He lived in London. Like,
yeah, in 1887 too. That man is timeless. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know if you're going to talk about it later or whatever, but the Austronesian, and he got together with an Austronesian historian.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I don't. My quote is not there, but yes. Okay. So yeah, y'all, secrets out. He tried to work with is it Blumentritt?
But he said, I want to work with you because if you do the research, it will be more legit than if I do the research, because he understood who he was. Like, I don't know, sis. Like, I thought he was over there in the homeland, but to know that he was like us, also in the diaspora, also looking for the best interests of, the Kapwa back home, knowing that he also was looking for his own history. He's doing the same things we were doing. He
was decolonizing back then. Yeah. He was like, this ain't our history. Where is it? And then what's nice about him is he tried to work with non-Filipinos.
Right.
And then he probably got so annoyed enough, was like, man, forget y'all. I'm going to write it anyway. So then he started pushing out hella stuff.
Yeah. That he said, I'm just going to go ahead and do it myself.
Right.
And then I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. I
I
just
know.
like I was fascinated by his story, and then the Rizal versus on the Bonifacio, like who is I think they were saying like their debates today continue today on who should be Philippine national hero, Rizal or Andres Bonifacio, one of the
Oh,
founders of the Katipunan.
yeah. I mean, they're both revolutionaries. Let's just not put them both against
Yeah,
each other. They both advocated for people for freedom,
yeah.
You know what I
It's
mean?
it's both and.
Andres was more of a what? He mobilized, I think, in the Philippines. Rizal was like the writer. I don't know if Andres must have wrote too. Who knows? We still have yet to find that out.
Yeah, right. So
Yeah.
Rizal and Bonifacio. So Rizal is like,
We're decolonizing zaddies.
yeah.
Decolonizing zaddies.
Yeah, so Rizal was like, what is it called? Diaspora. Bonifacio like lived in the Philippines. And it's just like it's I feel like it's a picture of even today. Like here, people in the Filipinx in the diaspora and Filipinx back home. It's a both and situation. We're both wanting the best for our people, the best for our descendants. And we both have a different perspective and take on things that we get to learn from each other, you know? So
Yeah.
I don't know. It felt, I don't know. I was like, I want to read more about Rizal now. So, and then
Okay.
like how he died,
I know.
but like he said he was shot. And he said, I don't want to get shot in the back because I'm not a traitor. And they turned his back anyway. And he died face up. Like that's a boss ass move, honestly.
Yeah, because he knew he was gonna come back.
Yeah.
And we actually know descendants of him. I think, right?
You know, or I know. We
Freaking
know.
Mayadi sister
Oh, snap. For real? I didn't know
Yeah.
that. Who?
of Paige. And she's a writer. Dun dun dun. So there you go.
I did not know that,
Yeah.
friend. That's amazing.
I
So
know,
yeah.
right?
Oh, that's blowing my mind. So yeah, and then little story about the doctor checking his pulse before the execution. And the doc said, yeah, he's calm as fuck.
Yeah. That's the way to go. Like, I'm gonna come back. So this is the body. Like, I'll be back.
He's calm as fuck. And they turned him around and they were shooting him. He just turned back. Oh, wow. Okay. Anyway,
Yeah.
I have a revolutionary crush on Jose Rizal, I guess. I didn't know.
Yeah. You and Rob should dress up
As Jose Rizal. And
no, he could be Jose Rizal and you could be
who can I be? Ooh, I can be
Gabriela
Silang.
Silar.
Gabriela
Yeah.
Silang. Yes. We were gonna go as honestly though, we were gonna go as Morticia and Gomez Adams.
I mean, you got 30 days, 31 days in October. You can wear whatever you want to wear.
True story.
I know.
So anyway, thank you, sis. I know that was your vocab word, but I just was like, let's talk about Jose.
Okay, yes, it's fine. We're both crushing on revolutionary historians, and it's fine. Like
it's fine. It's totally normal.
Yes.
So anyway, sissy.
Okay.
I am complete if you are.
I am.
Okay.
Time for quotes.
Quotes.
There you go, sis. She's the singer.
I'm not.
I'm the car karaoke singer. So
there you go. We all karaoke singers.
37 is mine. I'm going first, right? Or
yes.
You go first?
No, you go.
My quote is on page 37, y'alls. And I wanted to highlight how, I don't know what it is. Filipinos, we lazy, we not lazy. What? There's some things we do and there's some things we don't do. But if y'all want to read the chapter, there was a segment about how they found a piece of copper, ended up in a museum, and it turned out to be a statement of like someone's like bank statement or something, like you paid your loan in full or whatever, right? But when it comes to stories, oral lore is on page 37. It says here in this paragraph. So she says, if pre-colonial Filipinos were writing back then, why didn't they write historical accounts? It turns out they only used their script for letters and messages. Our ancestors did not write about their rituals, traditions, and customs, but we do know about them today because, as one Spanish account said, we learned them from the oldest people and the leading chiefs of these islands because they are best informed in the oral lore of their ancestors, which has been passed down from generation to generation from time immemorial. And they sing it in their songs in which they relate their origins and their recent wars and everything else we have been said here, because they have no writings or anything else that contains it or shows it except in their songs. I just want to continue a little bit more. The writings by pre-colonial Filipinos did not survive to the present because the materials they were written on, typically bamboo and palm leaves, withered away and did not stand the test of time. More importantly, the nature of these writings was not intended to last for extended periods of time. In his book, Myth of the Barangay and Other Silenced Histories, Damon Wood says, as a result, the knowledge we have about such writings came from those who used materials that would survive and from those who intended for such writings to survive. Surprise, surprise, the Spaniards.
The Spaniards.
So, yeah, oral lore.
Yeah. I love how they talk about songs. They sing it in their songs. Is that why we like karaoke so much?
Right.
We trying to leave a oral history.
Right. We're meant to be singing stories. Yeah.
Well, there's that book. I think if it's not in our list, we should put it in our list of books to read. Babaylan Sings by Grace Nono. Have you heard of that one?
No.
Yeah. So I think Grace went back home and sat with some babaylan and sang, I guess. That's why. So she went to karaoke with some babaylan. No, I'm just kidding. Respect. But yeah, I just thought that was very interesting. The song, the singing piece. So, and it's like, where are all our songs?
Where's that curtain?
Yeah. The song that I remember my mom singing the most was Que Sera Sera. Que Sera Sera, whatever will be. Yeah. But that's
one of my favorites.
Spanish. That's like a Que Sera Sera. Que Sera Sera.
Oh man, like Que Sly and the Family Stone is my favorite rendition of it. I don't know. That makes sense. Mine was Bahay Kubo.
Oh, your mom sang Bahay Kubo?
You remember that song?
No. How's it go?
Kubo. I forgot the rest. Ay, sorry. Cinco más. It's about food and houses.
Oh, nice.
Cigarillos at something. I need to ask my mom. This is a good little reminder.
Yeah. My kids are gonna be like, my mom always sang, what's that song by Ruby Ibarra?
Right. Shoot. I mean, that's oral lore. They talk about fire, water, and
Yeah, well, it makes me think about like, so I have a journal, but that's like just personal for me. Like if my descendants found that, they'd be like, oh, this person is a crazy person. What?
He was living in hard times.
Yeah.
Hard awakening times, man.
But it's like, wow, I should write down some of my rituals. Or should I? I don't know.
Yes,
Should I sing
and
them?
songs, sissy, because you was a singer. So
I is. But yeah, so I don't know. Do you feel like you should write? Well, I feel like you're in school right now. You are writing a little bit about your history.
Little lot of bit, yeah.
So yeah, I'm like, man, I need to write more stuff down.
Yes, writers out there, keep writing. You know, our stories are being resurrected, I feel, and it's beautiful to
Yeah.
feel that happening.
Yes, yes,
So
yes, yes.
I feel complete.
Okay, Sissy. All right. So my quote comes from the end of the chapter. Page 46 and 47. This is the end of the chapter. I'm just going to read a little bit. In my search for the pre-colonial Filipino, I can fully appreciate Scott's words when he said, talking about William Henry Scott, who is the Philippine historian, when he said, it is a fond adage of historians that a people without a history is a people without a soul. So nation building Filipinos eagerly search for their roots. It is a search which must be taken with disciplined care, however, eschewing all grandiose fantasies because the facts are so few. But despite the sparsity of the record, it can be stated neither history nor prehistory suggests a succession of predatory hordes battling for possession of tropical rainforests in the Philippines.
Right.
Rather, it suggests a vigorous and mobile population adjusting to every environment in the archipelago, creatively producing local variations in response to resources, opportunities, and cultural contacts, able to trade and raid, feed, and defend themselves. The facts stand in sharp contrast to the passive Philippine population depicted in grade school texts, a kind of formless cultural clay ready to be stamped with the patterns introduced from abroad. The history student with such preconceptions will not likely discover the pre-Hispanic Filipino. I should note that Scott himself was American by birth, but became naturalized Filipino after spending many years in the Philippines until his death in 1993. The lesson here is that in trying to rediscover our past, even if we are not the writers of our history, a close look at source materials like that undertaken by Scott can help establish a Filipino perspective. It may feel like we are dredging sand, but if we look closely enough, we just might find pieces of our history. So for me, this is like a lot of personal takeaways. Like when they said like they were formless cultural clay ready to be stamped with patterns introduced from abroad, right? So this kind of mirrors a little bit as my experience as an adoptee. So I have said before that I'm an adopted person, and sometimes for me that feels like being colonized twice, because there's more studies out now about, babies and early childhood development. But when I was born back in the day, back in my day, when I was a mere baby, they thought babies didn't feel pain. They thought that my parents were taught that I, as an adoptee, would be a blank slate, ready for them to just imprint themselves onto me. Like my upbringing didn't matter. It was just I was clay, ready to be stamped, right? So it feels like that. So this is my takeaway. Like, yeah, that's exactly how I felt personally, and also culturally. Then, like on a bigger picture, as being a Filipinx person, and then so it says like there's that adage of the historians that people without a history is a people without a soul. So it's like, yeah, like of course we would be wanting to find our roots, right? Not just as an adopted person. That's why I'm just saying that's why I feel like I was colonized twice almost. So I had to look for myself. Then on top of that, after I found myself a little bit, I couldn't fully find myself until I found decolonization, so still searching and coming home to myself over and over again in this journey. So so yeah, that's what I thought of when I read that quote at the end. So yeah.
Yeah, it's whew. I'm just thinking about what you said, and like they say, like no history, no self.
Yeah.
No history, NHOW,
Yes.
no self. So, and I grapple with this because I want to know I actually want to know what the fuck we were called before the Philippines was dubbed the Philippines.
Right. And so that's what I'm saying. Like, if there's no history, no self, and then a people without a history is like a people without a soul. Like the Filipinx people, we're missing 500 years of our soul. We need to do a soul retrieval. Shit.
Ooh,
Talk about Bruha shit.
Wow. Maybe that's what we doing, sis.
Oh my gosh, I had the same exact
It's
thought.
500 years of that's what we're all doing is Babilonic resurrection, the crocodile belly back. Like, what are we on?
God.
Like year 2050?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Like
trailblazing. We're in that trail. It's that I always talk about this. Like, if you think about it's that consumption bell curve. Like there's the early adapters, late adapters. Yep. We're definitely on like the early, because it's 500 years. That if you think about it in a 3D, what is time? But like 365 days passed 500 times until we were actually like colonized. So, that's a lot of resistance. And imagine how we're like going reverse now, like whatever cosmic joke our lineage signed up for, like, and us being on this tail end is, you just gotta laugh. Like,
we do. Well, that's what we do.
I was telling Imee, I was telling at the Imes, like, I yearn for like a Babilonic like church, like, because bless the Catholic Church, but it's just not where I see myself participating in rituals. But I foresee a church or a gathering, right?
Communal ritual. Yeah.
Communal fellowship. We gather because it's the equinox of whatever season. And we're just paying homage to the land, and it's normal. And we're having red tents, and like women and are honoring their cycles. And we talked about it with the crocodile's belly, like, even though my colonized mind still grappling around it, like it's common for a man to go out and cut someone's head off. You know what I mean? Remember the headhunters?
Yeah.
Chapter? That's still, I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, but they did that in ceremony. That was purposeful.
Yeah. And that's, I think a lot of how they find bodies now on news, like, and they're actually like, this body was preserved or it was sacrificed. Like, obviously to us, it's like, you sacrificed a body? Like, that's, but I mean, why have people been sacrificing brown bodies for a lot of things? So
yeah, just because it's not as blatant. Well, yeah, and they're sacrificing all the time, but maybe it doesn't look as drastic as taking like a body. Like, I'm not saying that's not happening, because it is, but it's happening. The sacrifices are happening way more than just the bodies. So we can't think it's barbaric, because
there's also a level, I think, of honor that comes from who are sacrificing, because and that's where spirituality, maybe that's why they've worked the agendas that try to eradicate that from the indigenous people, to instill fear, because people who are being sacrificed are like, they know they're gonna come back, like, or they like get to have blessings when they cross over, because they know that this life isn't, I mean, it is it and it's not it, so I'm going off into little tangents, but I'm just saying, like, this is part of like knowing history and knowing yourself. And I just yearn for a space where we commune, we sing, we dance, we do things that you like. I don't have to pay a retreat fee and go be in the woods. It's just like a place that, like, Like, can we restore the pre-colonial church? Like, what was that? You know?
Yeah, what did our rituals look, what did our communal rituals look like? How often were they? Were they, right now it's like, oh, we go to church every week, but maybe our communal rituals were just like once a month, or once like, or like on the waxing moon, waning moon, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah, like
every other week or something like that.
shit. People were taught to like make baskets, or we thanked the plant for its, you know, providing and things like that. I don't
Yeah.
know. Just just thinking, but like
Just think, we're trying to find that piece of our soul. We call it back.
500
We'll
years
call it back.
of calling back. Yeah.
We'll call it back,
So
sissy. Anyway, I am complete with that. If you are complete as
I
well.
So, as we end our conversation and close out this container with gratitude, once again, we recognize and honor all the ancestors and the ancestors of the lands we all occupy. We recognize and honor you too, dear Kapatid, for joining our conversation today. And as always, Imee and I leave you with a blessing. May you find your own stories and humor to deal with stress and overcome anguish. May you find your own strength to rediscover your past and your own perspective as you rewrite your own story. And as you continue this brave journey of decolonization, may it continue to lead you to understand who you were, who you are, and who you can be. May the remembrance of Kapwa anchor you into your heart. And until we meet again, may you know that all is well and will be well. And that no matter what happens, you are loved.